This is part 2 of my video about should charity executives be paid a percentage of the donations that they raise. My name is Lori Styron. I'm the CEO and Executive Director of Charity Watch. In my last video, I explained that it's generally considered a conflict of interest to pay charity executives or the CEO a percentage of the donations that they bring in, because that necessarily drives what they spend their time on and how they prioritize the resources of the organization. You don't want a nonprofit executive putting their personal enrichment above the needs of the organization. And when you structure compensation that way, that's exactly what you're setting up the organization to do, or for that executive to do, consciously or subconsciously. So the part two, another point that I wanted to make is that sometimes the total dollar amount that is brought in, oftentimes it's not the result of just one person's work, right? It's the result of the entire staff who are all working together. There could be a fundraising department, or for smaller organizations, there could just be, people in, customer service, or, more often referred to as member services, right? Speaking with donors. There could be programmatic people who, because of the high quality of the programs and some of the specific work they've done or the specific clients they've served, that might speak to a specific donor in a certain way. And so that person contributed to kind of convincing a donor, inspiring them to want to support the organization. So the executive that then might meet with that potential donor, or to meet with an existing donor to try to get them to up their contribution, that's just the endpoint person who's maybe finalizing the transaction. But it takes the whole organization working together and providing quality programs and quality service to its membership base, its donor base, in order to encourage and these kinds of donations to occur in the first place. So by, rewarding the CEO or another executive that finalizes that donation, you're sort of necessarily discounting all of the work that it actually takes to operate a nonprofit and maintain the quality of what it's doing and, ensure that it's fulfilling its mission. You're discounting all of those things in favor of whoever happened to finalize a bigger donation. The second piece of this is that sometimes the amount of investment that's put in is not commensurate with the dollar amount of the donation that you get. So it's also incredibly important for nonprofit organizations to build up their donor base of smaller dollar donors, right? There are people who might contribute $25, $50, $100 per year to your organization, and you still need to make sure that you're communicating with them, that you maintain good relations with them, that you do outreach to them, that you are communicative with them. And that all takes a lot of time and resources to do, to make sure they understand the value of the programs that you're providing and why they should care and why they should continue to support you. The people who work in fundraising and development, or, all the staff, whether there's a separate department for that or not, all put a lot of time into making sure that all of those things are getting done, right? Whereas a nonprofit executive, they might, put together an application, spend 5 or 6 hours on it, putting together a budget to apply for a much larger grant, like say $1 million grant. But that's far less time than maybe the time that other staff members or they themselves are investing in maintaining all of their smaller dollar donors. So, should a nonprofit executive expect and deserve a windfall? Deserve a $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 bonus because they happen to get one high dollar donation from a donor, when maybe the other people, making sure that the smaller dollar donations are coming in, they don't get anything, or maybe if they get a percentage too, it's just a tiny amount because they were, not directly involved in securing a much larger grant. It just gets really messy when you tie executive compensation to the amount of donations that are being raised, right? Mission drift, discounting other people's contributions to that money coming in and why it's coming in. So it's just generally a bad idea. But this is part 2 of the video. There's another part 1, so go ahead and find that on the channel and watch that as well. My name is Lori Styron. I'm the CEO and Executive Director of Charity Watch, and if you disagree with me, tell me what you think in the comments. Thanks, everyone.